I used to work at a small, old hotel in a quiet town. The place had seen better days, but guests still came and went regularly. One evening, a man walked in and asked, "I want room 313. The manager immediately refused. "I'm sorry, sir. That room is closed. There have been issues." But the man insisted, "No matter what, I want that room." After some hesitation, they finally gave him the key to room 313. At exactly 3 a.m., the receptionist's phone rang. It was a call from room 313. But when they picked up, all they heard was a voice, an old woman's voice, brittle and whispery, like it came from another time. "He's here now." Then the line went dead. The receptionist sent the security guard to check. He knocked on the door. No answer. He knocked again. Still nothing. So he used the master key to unlock the door. But the room was empty. No sign of the guest. No luggage. Nothing. Except an old wooden rocking chair, slowly rocking back and forth by itself. And on the table, there was a note. "Room 313 is never empty." Jacob approached the mansion with his camera rolling. It was a colonial-era structure with blackened stone walls, ivy crawling up its sides, and windows that seemed like eyes, watching every move he made. The front door creaked open before he even touched it. Inside, the air was colder. Dust hung in the shafts of light pouring through broken windows. Cobwebs draped the chandeliers like curtains. Jacob whispered into his mic, narrating every detail. But he wasn't alone. Footsteps echoed upstairs. A shadow passed by the end of the hall. Doors that were once open now closed silently. His camera captured none of it. Only static and flickering images. But Jacob's eyes saw everything. He found a diary in the study. It belonged to a British officer, dated 1852. The last entry read, "The village has turned. They worship the dark now. I try to stop the ritual. I fear I am too late." That night, Jacob stayed in the mansion to get night footage. He set up motion sensors and IR cameras. As midnight approached, the house came alive. Furniture shifted on its own. A whispering voice called his name from multiple directions. Faces appeared in mirrors, mouths open in silent screams. One camera caught a figure standing inches behind him, only to vanish when he turned. Terrified but determined, Jacob descended into the basement, the source of the strongest EMF readings. The steps were narrow, damp, and endless. At the bottom, he found a chamber with walls covered in ancient tribal markings and a pit filled with bones. In the center stood a stone altar soaked with dried blood. And then came the voice, deep, feminine, echoing inside his skull. "You seek the truth, and now it knows you." Jacob's vision blurred. Shadows poured from the walls, wrapping around him like vines. He screamed, but no sound escaped his lips. The last thing his camera recorded was his face, twisted in terror, before the screen cut to black. 2 years later, the footage was found on a weather-beaten camera near the riverbank by a group of hikers. The YouTube video, titled "The Lost Village," Jacob's last documentary, went viral. Kalapathar remains untraceable. The forest where it once stood now refuses entry. Paths shift, compasses fail, and strange sounds lead wanderers astray. Some say Jacob is still there, wandering the village, camera in hand, recording horrors that no one will ever see. And sometimes at night, his final video updates on its own, showing new footage no one ever uploaded. Deep within the dense forests of northern India lies a village long abandoned, erased from records and avoided by those who live nearby. It is known only through whispers. Bhargavpur, a place said to have been swallowed whole by an ancient curse. Its people vanished without trace, leaving only a decaying temple, a dried-up well, and the silent eyes of statues that seem to follow those who dare approach. Ravi Thakur, the host of the paranormal YouTube channel Beyond the Veil, was no stranger to haunted tales. But Bhargavpur was different. He first heard about it from an old priest who warned him not to go. "The well sees, the temple remembers. They'll follow you back," he had said. But warnings only fueled Ravi's obsession. Determined to uncover the truth, Ravi assembled a small crew. Priya, a skeptical but brilliant historian, Akshay, their tech-savvy cameraman, and Meenal, a spiritual medium who had helped them on previous investigations. The plan was to document everything and broadcast their findings. They had no idea what waited for them. They set out early morning, entering a dense forest whose paths seemed to shift. Their GPS failed, compasses spun wildly, and the air grew thick with moisture and silence. By noon, They stumbled upon the first sign, a half-buried signboard that read, Bhargavpur, beware the eyes, in faded Hindi. The village ruins were overgrown and unsettlingly silent. The houses, though crumbling, looked as though they had been left in haste. Dishes still sat on tables, beds unmade, doors wide open. It was as if time had stopped. But the true centerpiece of Bhargavpur was the temple. The temple of Devi Korm stood at the center, carved entirely from black stone, its spire piercing the sky. The entrance was flanked by two enormous statues, guardians with hollow eyes, eroded by time, but still unsettlingly expressive. Meenal gasped upon seeing them. They're watching, she whispered, spoke to them in dreams. And Bhargavpur? It now appears randomly in satellite imagery, then vanishes. Those who search for it begin seeing hollow eyes and reflections in the dark corners of rooms in their dreams. They say the temple is growing hungry again. Ravi and Akshay began filming as Priya examined the engravings. They depicted a story of a deity cursed by her own worshippers, a blood pact made with shadows beneath the earth, and a well that sealed the deal. At the center of the temple grounds lay that very well, now dry, its stone walls scorched and cracked. They camped near the temple, intending to investigate after dark. That night, things began to change. Akshay's equipment malfunctioned. Footage was erased or distorted. Meenal began muttering in her sleep, speaking in a language none of them recognized. Priya, the skeptic, started seeing flashes, ghostly figures walking past the tents, disembodied whispers, a hand brushing her shoulder. They descended into the temple the next day. Beneath it, hidden behind a false altar, they found stairs spiraling deep into the earth. Torches lit automatically, despite centuries of neglect. What they found below chilled them. A subterranean sanctum lined with shrines to a forgotten goddess, walls covered in blood-written warnings, and a massive stone idol with hollow eyes. The idol was alive. It spoke through Meenal. Its voice was many voices. It revealed the truth. The villagers had made a pact with something ancient in exchange for prosperity. When they failed to keep their end, annual sacrifices, they were consumed, not killed, taken. The well is the eye. The temple is the mouth. You are the offering, it hissed. One by one, the crew was affected. Akshay disappeared into the temple walls, his scream echoing for hours. Priya became catatonic, whispering the names of the dead. Meenal levitated, her eyes pitch black, as she laughed with the voice of 1,000 souls. Ravi tried to escape. He ran through the forest, only to find himself back at the well. Again and again, the trees looped. The path rewrote itself. He was trapped. The footage was found weeks later on a hard drive that washed up near a dam downstream. Locals who watched it went mad, claiming the statues